Hey guys, we're back. It's game one. It's the best of 5. It's the grand finals for the Olimoleague. Quick shoutouts. I know that we've been super pandering about bits and stuff today, but hey, if you've got a couple of bucks to spare, you should also consider checking out the Patreon for this tournament. We don't run it, to be full disclosure, guys. BaseTradeTV doesn't have its fingers in the honey jar, right? It's Olimoleague. And I guess nowadays Crank's got a pretty big involvement with it too, but it's mostly Olimoleague who started this and runs it, so if you want to support this tournament and see it continue every single week, be sure to check out the Patreon. It's also got some cool rewards, so it's not even just like a begging scam. Be sure to look at all the cool things you get, like replay packs and otherwise. But all right, it's game number 1. Grand finals time. Spawning here at the bottom left side, it's our red Terran INnoVation.
In the top right, as our orange Zerg, it's Impact.
And quick reminder, speaking of the Patreon and all these other things, let's talk about what the players are playing for, right? Like we said, the Olimoleague is a $200 weekly prize pool, $100 specifically for first place, so the winner of this best of 5, and $50 for second. There's also points to get invited to the monthly finals, which usually has about a $500 prize pool or so. And it's quite a lot of good stuff for these guys who make it this far in the tournament.
Oh yeah. Always been a good prize pool with awesome players, very consistently run. Very rarely is there a Olimoleague skipped, only in the extreme circumstances, like IEM during the same week, or
yeah, if a lot of stuff's going on.
I think that was it. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Olivia's been pretty consistent with this stuff, and I guess you guys are kind of double dipping there, because isn't ballistics on the same day, just opposite end of the day?
Well, same day for us, different day for Koreans.
I guess yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's tricky. Watch out.
Actually, yeah, that's always the worst part of trying to do time conversions. The two things I hate most are when one time is on a separate day, and the second most tilting thing is when you do something that times out to be around midnight. So you're like, okay, 11:59 p.m. is when I want you to show up.
Yeah, no, that you're right about that, but also what's frustrating is daylight savings time. Like, I did not.
Because not everyone experiences it.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you know, there were like this StarCraft 20 thing kind of got screwed up by it, and then when I went to Nation Wars, I thought that it already passed in Europe, and I was a week off. So luckily, I was in Europe when it happened, so I wasn't confused. But still, like I almost missed an hour of Nation Wars, I swear.
I love that you got to experience the frustration of daylight savings at home. Then you go to Europe and get to experience the frustration of daylight savings all over again.
Exactly. I'm in Korea. I just don't give a fuck.
Goddamn farmers.
Seriously though, seriously. It's also it sucks because moving to some place that doesn't have it doesn't help in a situation. You know, it just doesn't. It still is confusing. So sucks.
Well, there's a comment here about time being relative, but we'll save the theoretics for another time, I guess. Reaper got that nice snipe on the drone, by the way, so delays the third by quite a bit. Impact now puts it down. There wasn't a lot to scout, but I guess one thing we should be aware of is Impact's, we saw it earlier today, willing to slap down an all-in or two. Scouting this Zerg player is actually going to be very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Impact has been doing some sneaky things. INnoVation is going to be going into bio here, which the Overlord was dangerously close to not scouting. But I would have been shocked if he had just let that go, not seeing if there was more barracks or stim started.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry we missed this. Biker Rush, if you're still in chat, thank you for that brand new sub, dude. Welcome aboard.
Oh, thank you indeed. You know, I feel like sometimes the blank person is new here. I confuse with a sub, and then I correct myself, so then I overcompensate the next time I see a sub, thinking that it's just the, hey, I'm new here.
I get messed up by host alerts, but that's because I'm reading off of the dashboard, not Twitch chat.
Makes sense.
But okay, Banshee starts sailing. No cloak can be associated with this, so it's just looking for some kills. Maximizes its damage output before going down. Heck, picking up a live tumor wouldn't be too bad either.
It is not.
INnoVation agrees.
If he sees there's roaches, maybe he saves it, so safety first and all that, but it is Ling Baneling with double evolution chamber, so I think he barely got a glimpse of the evolution chambers. He did, he saw everything. And he's gonna keep it alive anyways.
Yo, quick shoutouts to my dude Crime Dog 75 in chat. It says all the balance went today about Protoss ZVT finals. Yeah, that really sums up Twitch chat today in a nutshell.
It really was spurred by that one guy. He takes an odd amount of pride in it.
Overlord drops being set up. This is such an impact thing to do. I've mentioned it several times. Usually, it doesn't matter what this matchup is. Heck, it could be ZvZ. He pretty consistently will go for a drop like this, hide it in the corner, sometimes do 2. And obviously, we've got that really sick clip. Does someone have this from yesterday you could link of him coming back against Hero with some sick Bane Rain?
Yeah, they did link it earlier, so I know someone has it.
It's probably, if I'm gonna guess, the top clip of the week at least. Or at least of the last 24 hours. Because I don't think anyone posted that on Reddit to get the karma.
INnoVation, that's too few Marines. Why are you so bad?
Wow,
Zombie extra Marines would have been huge.
I don't know what to say about that. It's such a rude way to phrase that.
Of course I'm kidding. He gets the timing here really well done. It's before Impact was really prepared, and he was distracted by the Hellion, so the 5 less Marines was worth, I think, hitting at such a pristine timing, as the Queens were also a little out of center.
That poor sad little Marine too, trying to catch up to the medevac. Ship was full, buddy. I'm sorry.
Mother drop is going off to the middle of the map, and INnoVation, there's a downside of doing this. He might get a lot of kills. Well, missing 5 Marines again. Let's see how this. He's going to be missing out on creep stick removal if he's not careful not to grab some of that too. Impact is, of course, doing a lot of things, so it's not really number 1 priority. Just managed to clean this up.
Oh boy. Thank you for that donation. I actually have a very funny story to tie into the message. We'll read that in a sec. INnoVation with the focus fire targets down the banelings. Those are banelings with speed 2 on creep, but then walks into the other one, so he kind of cancels out all the cool moves he did with one really stupid one.
Damn it. This Marine has a lot of hopes and dreams, man. You know, he's gonna get that attribute to half health.
INnoVation just like, it's one of those things where, okay, he's on fire, but like literally.
Okay, I thought I was gonna try and save that Marine.
I kind of hope he could still. The Banshee could save him.
Save him, Banshee, save him.
Oh, dick move.
Yeah.
Anyways, Supply Deep is United. There's $10 our way. The casters are horrible. The game is boring and imbalanced, and now you're stealing my money too. Hashtag Twitch chat for life. There was a guy a while back. I still remember. I don't remember his name, but I remember he donated like $25, and the message was, could you please set up a show match between Puck and Major? And if you can't, just put this towards something else. And we tried, and the players weren't able to do a show match, so we put the money towards something else. And then for 3 years, the dude would post on Reddit about how we stole $25 from him. Like, we put it towards something else like your message said. And then it didn't matter. Still, he probably, you know what? I bet you he's still out there to this day, posting on Reddit to the wrong StarCraft Reddit.
Yeah. Maybe he's in like All Things Terran or something, but that was not great. Should have had a bit more of a concave. He has actually a really fantastic position that he was hoping to bait the Banelings back into, but just a little bit late in the pullback.
The tanks were in such a good spot. I was really expecting something bigger, but the other thing he's having some trouble doing is keeping the creep at bay. I mean, he's definitely cleaned up some tumors here and there, but I mean, Impact is still just chugging away down the middle of the map. Not a good sign. Oh, that's gonna suck.
It's really not the most impressive creep spread, though. Like, it's something. It's doable, it's on the right pathways, but all it takes is one scan to reduce quite a few. Ooh, there's so many tanks here.
I do like that they focus the Banelings. Unfortunately, though, that means the Hydra's just going to walk all over them. But with the Marines surviving the Banelings, these can now push back into the Hydras. And with 2-2 upgrades for INnoVation, he should be able to take this Hydra fight, no problem. Just stay away from those Banelings. Apparently, they're his weakness.
It's a little scary. Honestly, even the Hydras have a decent chance of tackling this, although their upgrades are, they're later. So not super great. Did need the Banelings to help out. INnoVation saves his 4th base. It's now done. Really great macro behind all of this aggression. Impact definitely still on the ropes. Doesn't really have the time or the money to quickly go up to hive. So we have like almost a 10-minute hive here, which is, sometimes it's a 7-minute hive. I would say more often it's a 7 or 8-minute hive.
You know what?
I see that by INnoVation.
Yeah, those quick hives, I guess I've gotten way too used to seeing because it's a common thing versus mech. Like, if you get like a 7-minute hive versus bio, you're playing risky business, and sometimes it works. Most of the time it doesn't. But yeah, I guess my timings are all messed up because we've just been seeing a lot of mech more often than bio.
Even against bio, I feel like INnoVation is playing really well. I mean, joking about the Marines and the medevacs aside, like either the 2 medevac drops into another 2, into a really decent tank push, into a follow-up decent tank push. I would say generally a guy like Impact gets... great surrounds and takes much better engagement, so he can afford a hive a bit faster.
Sorry to double check. I thought you got a kill on that base for a second. It was a cancel.
Oops. INnoVation more focused on the bottom side of the map, which
this
probably is going to work out better.
I like he splits them. That's even better. That one Marine's legacy lives on as these guys do finally finish the job he was sent there so long ago to do. And he cleans up these tumors. Yep, there's the scan. This becomes an even better position to hold in. And again, I really like where those tanks are set up, but getting out of here might not be an option.
I'm starting to get really worried for Impact. Not only was his hive was, I felt, barely gotten to, but he really is going to struggle to afford anything with that hive. So he does it on an Ultraless Cavern. He might take a bad engagement. No matter where he's going to go, I think INnoVation will trade all right. And obviously INnoVation's already on his way to preparing for those Ultras.
I just don't know how this army hasn't been squished. These 3 drops or 4 drops. Creep finally gets receded. Hops on top of this, loses a couple banelings for it. Not actually a great trade there for Impact. But damn, that's a lot of medevacs still standing.
That's what I was saying. Like, I feel like INnoVation would still take the better end, and he did. As soon as he picked up all of his army, it was a decent trade for him. Impact now affording Vipers does fit in 3-3, but obviously a lot later than INnoVation. INnoVation also already onto a 5th base that's not being contested. Impact's not getting his, like, trademark aggression in here, although he is finally trying with a huge Ling run by, but INnoVation has units, I think.
Yeah, and actually plugging the wall, so super won't work out for him.
INnoVation on point today.
I like the attempt to do this, though, because, yeah, a lot of times Saren don't have those units rally to the wall. They're busy rallying across the map, and you're either killing the reinforcements or you run past them into the natural. But we got Ghosts on deck here, so even if Impact gets to Ultras or these Vipers are a problem, like, he's actually going to have something to deal with all of this. INnoVation's late game is not going to be missing, even though he might take a bad fight here, which it doesn't even look like he's going to, by the way. He's got a great follow-up setup.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be much worse with the Blinding Clouds and the tanks and most of the bio,
but... If he loses these medevacs, he should boost out of there. No, why? Why?
Not back into them. Oh, God.
More donations than our stream here, sending those medevacs in like that. I don't know what he was thinking. But all right, as players recoil off of this, Impact is on his way to Ultras. He's got all of his upgrades ticking along, but INnoVation is on his way to Ghost. Even Liberator range in consideration here. I think that this is the late game I was hoping for. This is the clash of Impact versus INnoVation. I didn't want to see a 2 racks. I didn't want to see Ravager all in. I want to see this.
Well, it is still, a contested game. I feel like INnoVation has put himself into a really fantastic spot. I mean, his macro behind all that aggression was pretty perfect. Extra bases on location, extra starports with the upgrades on time. Even going for the +1 armor, which I do really like seeing more than +1 vehicle or +1 ship weapons. He has everything to deal with Impact's army, and Impact does not have a bank like Zergs usually do to kind of complement that, to counter that. So INnoVation, granted he doesn't truly mess up an engagement, which could absolutely still happen, should be in a very fine position to win this game. So he's continuing to expand on location.
I mean, if you got the money for it, more power to you. I mean, he's maxed out, so he's got to be spending this on something. Thank you, Radio Access, by the way. 1,500 bits. Robo-styles. Stop being a sellout. It won't work in this community. I'll stop being a sellout for 1,000 bits. Thinking. This is such a weird wall. Just finish it, please.
Well, he really needed the supply depot on the bottom side. That's how the banelings rolled in, but they barely got any SCVs. INnoVation, I guess this was a point where he was mostly watching his own bases, so it's not a surprise that banelings didn't do very much. But as soon as he actually pushes, then suddenly these baneling run bys could be devastated.
I like the building armor. I feel like this is an upgrade that a lot of team players neglect, but specifically against this style, the planetaries will need it more than ever.
Love the sensor towers. INnoVation is, like, he's not doing as many drops or as many pushes, so this is a time where Impact can finally get his creep spread, but it was really stifled in the mid-game, much more than usual.
Liberator takes a couple Hydras down with it, but I think setting these ones up, those Ultras are not going to be able to sit in that SCV line for too long.
But not the only attacks going on here. There is a planetary, and building armor is so close to being done. All right,
it's done. That being said, Banley still kill the SCVs, and you have all the building armor in the world. If nothing's repairing it, that base will still die. He cleans up the Hydras on the backside, though. Queen's getting poked and brought in and killed, frankly. And Impact. He dived deep for this to get a planetary.
Yeah, didn't realize the army was behind him almost, like to the side of him, almost parallel. I don't know what you want to call it, but losing a lot of his spellcasters. Units that are usually able to get away. The queens, I guess, not so much, but they didn't even provide the chance fuses. They're too far away from the creep to run back, and they're too far away from the ultras to help.
So INnoVation actually lost a lot through this in terms of workers, but he had built so many extra orbitals that's kind of okay. He's just gonna mule drop to replace all this, and oh my god, this command center actually lived? I can't believe this. We saw the planetary down, and I just assumed this was gonna fall. So you can just lift this, move it over, repair, make it a brand new planetary. This saves him so much time.
Yeah, but it is important to note that that was not just an interesting engagement. It is kind of a sign of things to come. Impact has been able to gain back some of that momentum. He was being pushed. He was being dropped. He really couldn't provide the Ling aggression, the ultra counters that he wanted. Now things have gotten back to even. They both equalized on their bank. Impact has gotten like enough bases to be okay on 73 drones. And INnoVation now has to continue to be worried. Whereas I think 3 minutes ago, he seemed to be on lockdown. He had center towers, he had planetaries, he had extra orbitals. Now it's a little more questionable. Impact allowed to roam around the map a little bit more.
I love that one ghost, sorry, a moment ago. I didn't want to interfere for this, but he like stared death in the face. That Ultra, I can't believe, died in front of him like that.
Perfect timing on the Ling run by. Liberators do have trouble dealing with these fast enough, so really, SCVs die.
That being said, it is the planetary finishing though, and SCVs dying is still not a problem for INnoVation. Less workers is more army supply, but he's still building SCVs.
Ooh, cannot afford to give away ultras like that.
No, this is actually really tough. Impact he's not even maxed out.
Yeah, he's close to being in a comfortable position with those bases, but he did just waste all of his gas, so...
Oh, Jesus. There's 13 ghosts, and with the Liberators to cover them too, these ultras are gonna be no good.
Golly gee. Impact going for the right move again, I think, is to try and pull the army back, get those Liberators out of position, because right now he cannot deal with an army that's set up like that.
Ultras are so durable. We got a drop set up here. Has the opportunity to snipe a lot in the main, but INnoVation's not looking at it right now. He's busy sniping. Can't blame him.
That's a very dangerous army to leave there. Huh. Okay, but those things... they got places to be.
They got the wrong directions.
Yeah. Lots of stimming going on. I was going to say, this army's a very scary army to go, because, like, literally, I think, like, Ling, Baneling, Corruptor would take out a lot of this. But... you know, Impact just, you know, threw away, not threw away, but used a lot of his army to try and get these counters. He's not engaging with the pure Ghost Liberator army, and INnoVation is scanning to see that. So he's going to continue pushing in, sieging up here.
Yo, real quick glance here the last 10 minutes, by the way. For the first time, these guys aren't really trading even, and this is going way better for INnoVation in all these trades.
Yeah.
It takes so long to kill the production, too. I mean, it's just 2 barracks, but they held on for so long. So the bio cleans up the south side, now they go up to the north. The command center's still standing, and well, once burning, he could repair this. Oh god.
Taking out probably the most important bases here.
I think even if the ghosts go down, you gotta consider what's left for this. Like, he was forced to go so many corruptors, but he doesn't have the money to make brood lords or anything. In fact, I don't think he has a greater spire.
No, he does not.
So,
he really needed the extra base.
Impact is a situation where his income is lacking really hard, and like a third of his supply is in useless units, so to speak.
Wow. Yeah, kind of. I mean, there's some Liberators on the way, so you don't want to just get rid of the Corruptors, and you actually need them. But it'd be better to be complementing them with Broodlords with a maxed out army. Impact is, you know, he's such a good drone count, but he really needs the extra bases. He also needs to take the gases again, as he is now taking another base at the very bottom right. He'll have that bank. Once he trades well, he trade for a planetary here.
Do you think INnoVation doesn't know about these double drops he has in the top right?
Oh, I think he's completely forgotten.
Oh, wow. He loses the planetary, but this was probably more costly for Impact. Like, 2 or 3 ultras is way more expensive.
No, very good use of the Corruptors. Missed a little bit late and on the wrong side.
Ooh, that being said, though, he still takes out like 5 Corruptors with those turrets and the Liberator.
Yeah. Okay, maybe that wasn't quite worth it.
No, I mean, look at the supply drop, too. More snipes coming in, more Corruptors getting picked off. Impact's making a lot of Lings right now, which might have some use, but they're also the only thing he can afford to make.
I guess this is it. Impact. Maybe cleans this up again, but INnoVation's going very comfortable still on a lot of command centers, so even as he loses one, he replaces it almost instantly.
GG. Yo, that's a hell of a game 1 to start the finals off with, though, and congratulations, INnoVation, on that very hard-fought victory. That was not an easy game. That was certainly not an easy game. Impact put up a hell of a fight, and that's why I said I thought, like, you know what, this kid, he's on the momentum roll. He's got a real chance to beat INnoVation, and while maybe he doesn't here in game one, see how the next one goes. He picks Backwater for his choice.
Latest worm.
Oh, I hope so.
Maybe.
Well, I'll hop into this as soon as the lobby's up. There we go. Thank you again for joining us today, guys. Quick shout outs to hit the follow button right up there above the stream if you haven't done it yet. Tomorrow, as I mentioned earlier in the cast, I'll bring it up again. Tomorrow we're featuring a Platinum and Below tournament for any of you amateurs out there who want a chance to play some tournament StarCraft 2. The winner gets an hour of coaching with the player of their choice, and loser gets the co-op commander code of their choice. You pick any of the co-op commanders. But that being said, we also have what is probably my most excited and anticipated BTSL Europe group happening as well. DNS versus TLO and Lambo versus Seoul.
Cool.
Of course, I'll be casting with Wardy tomorrow, sadly, not with Zombie Grub. But love casting with Wardy, so I shouldn't say sadly, that sounds really negative. But yeah,
Here it is.
It is going to be a super sick group. I think, for me, I'm looking at that, I think DNS, but then any three of the other players is totally viable for second.
Well, DNS has got to worry about that PvP, am I right?
I'm actually really worried. We don't have like any Terrans in the European bracket, so I really want Soul to get through. But alright guys, back to the Olimoleague. Here in the grand finals, this best of 5 continues, and spawning in the bottom right side of the map, only down one, we have the orange Zerg Impact.
In the top left, as the red Terran, it is INnoVation.
Backwater is a funny map, and I know we could have made jokes about Nidus Worms, but I would love to see one here. Impact, I think, has a lot of strength with his all-ins, but as we just saw, he's got a mean macro game too, so he's not a player who can only do all-ins. He's not a player who like relies on them to win, but again, he's got good ones in his pocket, practiced ones in his pocket.
Yeah. I'd still be very scared of Impact. Thinking of Chaos Foofy. I wanted to say it. It's a funny name. 3-month resub. He's a scary player, regardless if it's the all-ins that might follow a macro game like that or another macro game. He did lose a bit too much, I feel, in the mid game, and his late game was a bit of a comeback. Not super, like he had some strong moments, but it was a bit of a comeback. He kind of had to gain momentum back, and I feel like some things could definitely happen. Balin's got a bit better connections. There's a bit more of a surround. Where suddenly a game like the last one we just saw is actually Impact favored. It's INnoVation that's kind of begging to bring it back. So he's just a very scary player right now.
So annoyed. I've been trying to make a tweet about the finals this whole time, but Twitter's not letting for me for whatever reason. And I know it's not broken because Zombie Group can still use it, but I finally got to load in and I hit refresh by mistake just because I'm so used to hitting refresh spammed, and now it's not working again. So I had it for like a second.
They're
a
there,
little
but
bad. This is a really sick finals, but I guess people, you know, we got like 3,000 people tuning in. Not too many people are missing out on this.
Yeah.
But amazing. Boy, that's an amazing sub. Thank you for that Prime sub.
Amazing.
Welcome to the Cool Kids Club, man. Welcome to the adult table.
Totally tubular, man.
Actually, I love that idea. Everyone's got these cute little things for their subs, like, oh, we're the pandas, or shit like that. We're just like, yo, welcome to the adult table.
I'm so mad because the obvious one for me would be Grubhub. Trademarked.
Yeah, trademark, copyright.
No. Anyways.
I was really proud because I spent so long trying to think what would rhyme with base trade, and like after nights in the shower thinking, it's like, oh, brigade, that works. And then I bring this up in stream, and then people are dropping, well, masquerade and parade. And like, I'm like, okay, I'm an idiot. I didn't think of like 1,000 other words. Sue me.
You're usually quite the wordsmith too, so it was a surprise.
My hammer was dull.
Ah, wordsmith, I get it. I thought you were gonna go with MC Hammer. And I was like,
Can't
yeah, I
touch
guess he's a
this.
wordsmith too. Yeah,
I would love some MC Hammer straight up gold parachute pants. That would be sick.
Would you though? Would you?
Yeah, I would, because they'd be like super comfy to wear.
What was that beer, Zima or whatever?
What?
There's like this beer that like was very like, it was kind of a meme in the 90s that you would buy beer for people that don't usually drink it or who are kind of like lame. They're like wine coolers, but I know someone in chat's gonna be with me on this one and tell me what it is.
No, I think you're right. I think it's Zima.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go with that then. So corrected, because I can't trust you. Sometimes you end a sentence like that. You just kind of say something factual and it's very short and abrupt. I'm like, okay, you're lying.
I have the confidence of a much more correct man.
Indeed. Anyways, until we get confirmation with the chat.
I really like this, by the way, the Raven. It's more consistent nowadays, and it's not... I mean, back in the days when auto turret was really OP, you'd see Raven every single game. But I really like that this early Raven has become this cool anti-armor tool, or in some cases it interference matrix the queens so they can't help with the defense. It's taken a very interesting role, and not the direction I ever thought the Raven would go, but I'm happy to see people like INnoVation using it, because they really do pave the way.
It can be pretty cool. I get a shotgun fetish. That's Twitch Prime sub. I don't want to know what you're using that for, but...
You just go to hunting store and you're like...
Nidus worm.
Oh boy. This is going to be a little bit awkward, actually, because the fact that it's a mech, it's a slow ramp up to units. You might not actually have enough to stop the initial Nidus attack. However, if you do get Cyclones out, oh, are they so good against everything that's on the way? Yeah.
This is kind of a problem, I think, that's been arising for Zerg players, or a problem that's being fixed for Terran. I mean, it depends on what race you are, I suppose, but... Oh, I thought that was a Nidus worm. It's like, what the people that mech players especially, but even some bio players are following up 6 Hellions or 4 Hellions with Cyclones, which really puts them in a much safer position against Roach Rushes or Nidus worms.
I love this. This forces, because it's backwater. It's so far away. This forces you to either let the Zerglings get kills or you respond to the Nidus. You can't do both. Transfuse has hit that Nidus worm hard, by the way. It looks like he's gonna get mostly his units unloaded. I don't think it was enough, though. The Cyclone's still here. The Raven comes up to the main, but the Lings clean the clock of the third base and even got some kills in the natural.
But it's still 3 bases. Like, as long as he holds and Tank's about to pop out, he can resaturate his 3 bases. He still has 43 SCVs.
Saves all the Lings, by the way. Love that small note. It's not really anti-air to knock us out of the sky. Because the Cyclone could get chased a little bit, but not much.
You could anti-armor missile it, I guess.
Yeah, 30 damage.
Yeah. Obviously the Queens can't take on the command center, but Impact is really making the attack work because of the Ling drops. If this was just the Nidus Worm, he is basically dead in the water, I want to say. Now it's a lot more questionable. INnoVation continuing not able to take care of the Overlord.
What's kind of hilarious, if this was a build that wasn't a Nidus Worm, like he had just done the Ling drops, I still think it would have worked out well for him, all things considered. But, okay, so the Lings go back for round 2 in the main. A lot of these SCVs are softened up. We still have a pretty big force down here to the south, but the tanks should hold this at bay. I'm wondering if he'll go for another Nidus in the main, because he's about to lose all vision if these Zerglings die.
Having to pull the SCVs here is pretty bad. I mean, a lot of them got low. It could have been worse, but he's not even putting them back on mining. This is great damage from Impact, who is really starting to follow up here, getting his upgrades finally. Infestation is already on the way. He might be up to Hive and Ultras. Well, maybe not Ultras, it's mech, but Hive and Vipers, let's say. Or even Swarm Host. Swarm Host kind of making a comeback, too.
Swarm Hosts are really good against players who are lazy or complacent with their Hellions. And if that's the case for INnoVation, then maybe, but I don't know. Swarm Host, Impact doesn't seem like a Swarm Host guy to me.
I agree. But we'll see what he plans on doing. He is in the recovery mode right now, and he might just be thinking about Hive and then worry about Army later, because that's kind of what you can do when you know they're playing mech. If this was Bio and you saw that they had Stim and Medivacs, well, you're quite worried about being dropped or even pushed, but...
Yeah.
No, that was mech.
Oh, by the way, we got another donation coming in from Newt Gunray. 397 says, stopped watching StarCraft a few years ago, but I'm getting back into it. So glad to see you guys still going. Always my fave caster duo. Hell yeah.
Well, I really like this push. If it does get entirely cleaned up, it's somebody, like, and the Raven should never die, right? It's some of the less important units that has to just run away.
I think the Raven's a really valuable unit that more often than not flies into places it just shouldn't be.
Well, it's hard to control. I've been forcing myself to learn how to use Ravens, and I just... It's never gonna work, man. Ravens are hard.
Okay, here, I got a what if. So you know they're talking about originally nerfing the anti-armor missile down to like 5 damage or something just absolutely silly?
Yes.
Nobody wants that. But what if they did that, but speed boosted the Raven?
No, I think it'd make it worse. I think it's a nerf.
Really? Oh, because it gets ahead so quick?
Yeah, it always gets ahead, even bio. So.
Ooh, triple auto turrets is actually a lot of damage. That melts the queen. That's kind of nice. We haven't seen a lot of auto turret usage. Just so you guys are aware, when they brought the auto turrets back, they're just as potent as before. But the reason they're not super popular is because they reduced the range which you can cast it to basically be directly under the Raven. It's range 1. So you really got to put yourself in harm's way to get those auto turrets out.
I was so mad. I was trying to block tanks with auto turrets to get the last couple kills, and I couldn't get close enough. So mad.
I get really tilted because it's actually even more difficult to mass auto turret, just because they start overlapping in really stupid ways, and the Ravens like move but then can't place it down.
Yeah,
so they just cancel the command.
Sounds infuriating. Ravens are dumb units that are too powerful not to learn, but
I know it's like
at what cost, man?
I'll never be good at late game TvZ because I just can't learn ghosts. Like
Yeah,
I just can't.
Hard too. Yeah. Terran's a hard race. Let's just switch to Zerg.
Someone in chat asking if we played this week's mutation. So it's the Christmas one, I think, that rotated around, right? The presents.
Yeah.
I haven't played it this week, but I have played it. Oh no, wait, I did. Hold on, I did it right before the cast. I forgot. Oh, I'm so tired. But I did it last year. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, I was dealing with Han and Horner this morning, like literally 10 minutes before we went live. And I got one of their big ships, the Avenger buff. So that's a pretty nice meme.
We are officially into late game TvZ. INnoVation comfortably on 4 bases, Impact on 5. It actually looks like almost a normal game, except I would say Impact's upgrades are later than usual. And I mean, these Hydra upgrades aren't even done, so that's like maybe the biggest sign. But he's gonna get time to finish all those, and on his way to Aspire.
This could be really bad. This is a really tight choke, and Blinding Clouds could be very excellent here, and it looks like that will be the case. Tanks get covered. He's actually gonna duck some of the tanks in, but the anti-armor missile actually hits almost the entire army. Oh my god! Anything shoots these, and they're gonna die. He's gotta fall back. This is so bad. This is like game over bad.
It was pretty bad. It might not be game over, but this was pretty bad. This is very close to being game over. INnoVation's absolutely going to push from this because he didn't lose any of the tanks, which is the point I was going to bring up. It's such like a... It looks so fantastic. You're like, oh man, I'm going to get all these tanks with Blinding Cloud, and then you can't kill them fast enough.
He's got 14 tanks, and he's remaxing on roaches. A little bit of Hydras too, I guess, but...
But like really not a lot of DPS, especially because they're missing their upgrades.
Yeah, this is going to be some pretty harsh problems. I guess if he didn't have to remax now and he had waited out for that Spire, maybe you can make an argument for mutas, because really the only anti-air is 2 fours. Magic blocks those bad boys.
Yeah.
But no, he spent it all on Hydras, so he's got no gas for mutas. Can't really... There's no need for Corruptors or anything. Straight to Greater Spire.
Gosh, this is... Oh, that turned so hard on Impact.
Yeah. 14 tanks was too many. That's why I'm still saying I think it's GG no matter how we look at it, no matter how we paint this picture. Just because even when you abduct tanks like this, you still pull them in range. They still get a shot off. Like, it's actually devastating. Anti-armor paints the entire army orange, so that you can tell, because Impact's already orange. But the point is, everything here is so weak and fragile and dying, and okay, that's a bit much. Actually, it's really funny to consider. Anti-armor benefits unsieged tanks more than sieged tanks, I think, because of the faster attack speed. Because it's still only plus 3 damage, right? No matter what.
Yes.
But all right, that was pretty rough, frankly. And now Impact is in quite some trouble, as this is a best of 5. This could be the very last game, but it has been almost 40 minutes since our last break. So guys, do me a favor, sit tight. Go to game 3 when we get back. As much as I'd love to play the eSwatch intro, guys, we're actually already in the game. Let's not miss out on any of this. This might be the last one. Spawning here in the bottom left. Fighting for his life. It's the Orange Zerg Impact.
The top right, as the Red Terran, he is INnoVation.
Now, as to be expected, there's quite a bit of complaining about that. And mech and blah 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 from chat. There's always going to be something that looks a little too powerful and balanced money over, but I think I really don't think Impact's putting up too bad of a game. It's just a lot of the, like, it's not the composition that I think is the problem. He's just taking these weird engagements. Like, for example, in that last game, right? Blinding Clouds looked sick, and he was moving in on these tanks, but, like, that was not a fight he needed to take. I think, like, you can do some soft contains against mech to work out pretty well, too. Unless you see they're really overextending. To push in like that, it's tempting because you see all the tanks clumped up, but it wasn't a base he had to kill, you know?
No, it was an engagement he had to take. It's absolutely true. But it you know, you were talking about how hype the Blinding Clouds would be. I expected them to be quite good, and instead he was unable to truly kill the tank. So, well, hindsight 2020, I think he's more willing to just disengage faster and saves so much more of his army.
There's a small point in that Blinding Cloud fight too that I don't think really tipped the scales of battle, but he was like abducting tanks out of the Blinding Cloud. I'm like, okay, I can kill him, but get a shot off in the process.
Because the Zerg army is so big, I mean, they'll always get a shot, so... Yeah, that didn't necessarily help, but it was a... You know, you see the golden egg or whatever, and you don't realize there's like a big old spike trap behind or in front of it, so you end up killing yourself looking at the big shiny attack.
One thing I do want to see out of Impact that could be different, but follow the same way he's been playing, is like actually get to the proper hive tech stuff. Like have Brood Lords ready to fight and play, and if INnoVation's forced to go for a ton of Vikings, that's where your Hydras kick a lot of ass. You don't got to worry about tanks because anytime Brood Lords are nearby, they have to unsiege. They're just going to friendly fire their own army.
I mean, if that was a normal game, or if the Nidus Storm did even more damage, let's say 25 SCVs instead of the 15, I think it got, maybe 20, then he maybe has the Brood Lords already ready for the follow-up reinforcement, or his push does work better because there's like a couple less tanks or something like that. That's what ifs.
That's actually an interesting point to bring up too, because it's not that I necessarily forgot about the Nidus Swarm, but I forgot I actually did some pretty decent damage, but more on, again, the link drops than the actual Nidus Swarm itself.
Yeah,
but the Nidus was a pretty nice distraction.
It was hard to really determine what the game looked like after such a weird engagement. The Lings plus the Nidus Swarm, but then on 3 bases, INnoVation still on 45 SCVs. Like, there was a lot to think about, but I think at the end of the day, Impact's later Greater Spire, his, you know, bad decision that didn't have to happen was number one, but maybe the Nidus Swarm timing had something to do with it. Maybe he felt more compelled to do damage since INnoVation was on 4 bases than he really needed to. But Eastwatch was in Impact's potential last map choice. Well, it is actually, no matter what, his last map choice is it would go over into INnoVation's favor if he were to lose right now.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Loser's pick. Works in very funky ways. The Olimoleague also has like a fairly limited map pool too, so some of you might be wondering like why aren't they picking X versus Y? And it's because 2 maps are actually missing from the map pool. That's intentionally done every season.
Which is so weird because yesterday we saw so many Abiogenesis games.
I know, that was so weird.
It was really weird.
I gotta say though, no shots fired at Crank or Olivia or whoever is making the decisions nowadays, but I really haven't agreed with the maps we've axed out of the Olimoleague for the last like almost 3 seasons now.
I agree. I agree that I do not agree.
Oh man, this isn't agree to disagree, so I don't know how to handle this.
Right?
I agree to agree.
I was really surprised to see Acid Plant taken out. I mean, Abiogenesis was the most obvious one. It's always the small map that gets cut, regardless if you really, like, agree, because it makes some fun games. But Acid Plant, I thought, was well, unnecessarily cut out. But that is the Olimoleague kind of thing, is taking out 2 maps.
Yeah, it makes it unique. I don't hate it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just I don't always agree with the maps. Because I do wish we'd see, like, I really like Acid Planet as a map, actually. I think some of our funnest games have come from that map. But anyways, no point talking about it. We do have this attempted run by get shut down pretty easily. INnoVation hardly even takes any damage for that. Yikes. And the Roaches are shuffled back home by the Banshee, or shepherded home, whatever better word to use there is. So Impact goes back to droning, and it's probably for the best, because he's getting no damage done anywhere.
Well, that needs to be fixed somehow. So he either needs to do damage, which not the choice here, or he needs to go into extreme read, because INnoVation went for a fast 3cc and now is double armory because the 3rd cc is on location already. Like, he has a very good opener compared to what Impact has done here. Not that Impact did anything wrong. I mean, it was more kind of middle of the road, which would eventually hurt him.
I think Impact's going for a fast hive, but honestly, given what INnoVation did, I would love to have seen Swarm Hosts this time around, because I think it would give Impact a lot of time to make them cost efficient. Whereas, like, a lot of times you make Swarm Hosts later on, you only get like 3 or 4 Locust Waves off, and it sucks. you build them super early like this, you can get like 12 or 14 waves off in a game, no problem. But
I wouldn't mind Stormhost either, but it is for that really quick 6-minute hive. Get that out of the way, have Vipers ready to go, and then build up your army.
I do wonder, like, because the Vipers aren't really showing to be the MVPs of the series so far. Would it be better just, if you're the Vipers, get a fast Broodlord or something?
I think you always have to go Vipers, but I don't know about using them as Impact has so aggressively.
Yeah, they're a necessary component, but I'm saying, like, instead of grabbing 4 right off the bat, maybe 1. But, oh, man, might not even matter. The entire army painted orange. Again, these Cyclones are going to be doing so much damage already, and then -3 armor. Oh, my God. Everything's just falling apart.
This is a nice trade. Impact might be able to hold, but this was really good. INnoVation is not on with base. He's not on 2 base. Like, he's macroing so well behind it.
What this does, I think, more importantly than actually trade out well here, is that this opens the way for those Thors that are coming out next in a big way. There's almost nothing to respond to the Thors now, and more importantly, with several of the Queens, 3 of them going down, nothing to shoot the Metavacs down that are going to be accompanying those Thors.
That is a very good point. Those Queens being involved in that fight did let Impact hold, because what if he didn't have them? That might be even worse, but they also died for their trouble, and now they can't help out with Thors. Yes, their sins.
Well, the Overseer got shot down. That also supply blocked Impact, by the way. That stings in many, many ways. The Queen production was really low too, because the Hive is transforming and another base was building one. Like, it just, he's finally got some Queens out, but 3 Queens are gonna get killed by the Thors before they have to worry about getting out of there. This Roach attack goes, ooh, this is nice.
Does he have anything to deal with this? He just used all his Cyclones and a couple tanks and the Raven.
Paint in orange. Even the Cyclones start, I mean, SCVs will even do more damage to Roaches. That's a weird thing to consider.
It is. Does this mean the Thors get the 4th base? Because if this is the trade that Impact has to get, then it's not a good trade for him at all. They're not focusing it though, so I think they will have to escape.
Yeah, he could target the Queens, he could grab that Viper. I mean, this is still the high ground he can hop up and down between. One of these Thors is a little bit damaged, but still with almost 100 health, not bad.
I think INnoVation really notices how much freedom he has. Even with the Viper, there's just not a lot of things that shoot up. But that time it's going. Like, it's not just about the Queens anymore. Now there's also Hydras, and the Viper can abduct him back into them. And he might lose these Thors if he sticks around for much longer. He's gonna get the 5th Queens, I believe. Oh my god. How many Queens are that dead until? Because there's 3 before, there's 6 now. The Viper wanted to abduct. You know he still does, but if he unloads the Thor, he might actually snipe off the Viper, and that's a problem for Impact. Oh,
what?
Wow. Huh.
That's some, like, bullshit Blitzcrank level stuff right there, man.
I mean, if tanks can shoot through the walls, I don't mind they can abduct through them. I just didn't think it was going to successfully... I thought it would be too long. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, more power to Impact. He finally has something right go for him, I suppose. Yeah. And we do have the counter. And this is going to be on a base that's freshly muled, so this can really sting, but INnoVation's got a planetary, so this base, plus the defenses, I think he'll hold.
That's a lot of Hellbats. His army's really not that, like, strong unless it actually touches the army, which I guess it is going to. And the anti-armor missile.
Oh my god! Impact pops up and... Yikes. Like, just to be perfectly clear for everybody, it's not even just that it negates the armor or the upgrades that units have. Like, if they go into the negative like these Hydras do, that means they're taking 2 bonus damage from, like, all outside sources.
That's crazy to think about. If Impact had a few more units and maybe a concave, that's kind of scary. It was majority Hellbats, but instead takes the loss on that push and now takes more losses to the Liberators that he wasn't quite able to see or catch. A lot of losses. Oh, dear.
I love that Liberator wasted, like 3 or 4 shots on the drones going in the extractor. It still ends up getting like 16 kills, so, you know, whatever. Nice unit, David Kim.
Yeah, there was one at the 4th as well, which got cleaned up, so that was a nice comeback. INnoVation is on too many SCVs. I just want to point that out. 91 is, I think, officially too many. 85 is kind of like, eh.
I think he's got this because he's just so used to bleeding them out. You're just habitually still making SCVs.
It's actually, I wouldn't be shocked by that. I feel like pro gamers have admitted to that before, but...
Oh, Blue Flame's gone. This is going to trade out well, even with all the Hellions going down. Killing like 5 or 6 Hydras, that was nice.
Yeah. No, that wasn't bad. That wasn't too bad. INnoVation is not like rolling in money yet, so you got to be careful not to give away all your Hellbats until they have no buffer. But I don't think he's in that problem quite yet. He is going up to 5 bases, so he'll have more minerals to spread 91 SCVs out. Because I don't think he has enough right now. Because I really got a mineral in his main and natural.
I really want to just throw these away. Like, this is too many SCVs.
It is. Like I said, I think it's like at least 6 too many, if not like 11 too many, right?
Even that considered for what would be perfect, quote unquote, you've got mules, right? Like, you really you can get away with less SCVs.
Yeah.
But got a bit of a lull in the downtime. I saw someone ask in chat, hounding you, like, how did you get involved with BaseTradeTV? What's the origin story and all that? I like to tell this just because the TLDR is basically Zombie Grub didn't reply to my messages, and then she replied to my messages. The end.
Yeah, that is kind of the TLDR.
So there you go. You're in the know. Welcome. You caught up. 2018. Bim, bam, boom.
Yep.
Ooh, Hellbat drops would be really nice if he gets us to the mineral lines, but he's probably not because he's flying over Hydras. Unless... I'm having a stroke right now. Why did I just... Why? So triggered. There's such an easy pickup. He's still going to lose it. This is so dumb. This is so dumb in so many reasons, but okay. Gets the medevac. Doesn't take the damage. Starts moving into INnoVation's mineral line, and might be doing him a favor by killing some of these SCVs.
I think he kind of is, especially because we're getting into like really deep TvZ territory, where we got mass ravens, we got a lot more command centers on the way. Like, it's time to get rid of at least some.
Vipers go for the abducts instead of the blinding light. Oh, there we go. Still, the Vikings take out the Vipers. This was actually a really nice trade. No matter how this goes, the tanks will kill Hydras. The Vipers are all pretty much gone. One survives barely. INnoVation just destroys it. Even though he gets cleaned up here, this goes so much better for him, I think.
It's a little scary because he is in the midst of a transition. So, you know, there's not 15 factories pumping out a reinforcing army, just starports that produce quite slowly. But
I guess that's true, yeah.
I think, well, the thing is that Impact does not have an immediate counter, which if he did, then maybe one of these bases is in trouble, but it's one of now, what, 7 command centers, rather? So.
This is, like, actually the most annoying composition for INnoVation to be doing in the late game, like mass Ravens. We've seen just how efficient, like, 1 Raven at a time for INnoVation's been in this game. Can you imagine giving this madman 7 or 8? Maybe even more. This is a little bit worrisome, actually. He doesn't have a great way to deal with these Hydras, but with the anti-armor coming in... Oh, he's going to lose some of these units pushed aside by the rocks. Okay, so he can't actually jump on the units that he anti-armored. Impact, though, you know, we've been talking a lot about INnoVation's worker count. Impact's been sitting on a solid 92 for a while. Both plays with smaller armies as a consequence, but checking the income, it's been pretty back and forth for a while. Impact only just now recently starting to get ahead. Which
makes sense. He's now comfortably on these bases.
Yeah.
He is missing a lot of creep spread, which for this game doesn't seem to really matter as much, as there aren't many handling run-bys. But we have a main engagement going down. Interference Matrix does stop a lot of these Vipers from using their spells.
I'm wondering if that's the better move here, because it doesn't last long enough for that to be really devastating. But the Planetary's holding for now, goes down.
No building armor. He was... I feel like he should have gotten that before he got his mass Ravens.
Well, that's one thing. Was anti-armor going to be a better option there to soften up the army? Like, Impact actually has quite an army lead down. As you pointed out before, production for INnoVation is slow.
It is. I feel like he was so close to being in an okay position after losing a sizable number of tanks, and then Impact just barely hit that correct timing, barely caught INnoVation by surprise. No, the SCVs!
So this is not something that comes into play too often, but that engineering bay going down means you can't make planetaries anymore.
That is a good point, and he can't start his building armor. I guess
wait,
he'll
did he get
eventually
building
get
armor?
around.
Oh, you're right, he didn't. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah. Eventually he'll get around to rebuilding that, but right now everything's about just, like, Eastwatch is like a huge map. There's tons of avenues of attack, and when INnoVation had the momentum, he didn't have to worry about it so much, but now that he doesn't, he needs sensor towers. He needs army just spread out everywhere as he cannot respond quickly enough. Oh my god, there's no SCV.
No, this SCV. Oh,
what SCV, right. Bastard.
He turned it around too. You know he's pissed off about that. Roach and Hydra drops coming down, but with the planetary, I think he'll be okay. Oh, but he doesn't have range. He can't get behind mineral lines. INnoVation could actually sit back here, or I mean, Impact could sit behind the mineral lines here.
Yeah. INnoVation is close to recovering, but him losing out on the ability to make sensor towers alone is going to make this such a difficult game. Impact's going to start just really pulling him apart. Oh, that takes a bad fight.
I guess not being able to build the... Oh, that parasitic bomb is going to be nice.
Ouch, 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 ouch. And while that was a surround, it was with mech, which, you know, mech's more powerful when it's sieged up, not when it's surrounding an army necessarily. This is cleaned up, not too bad. 7 SCVs go down, a couple tanks, but no, the planetary, he actually really needs this.
Wow, actually, it's crazy how noticeable the difference of building armor is versus no building armor.
It is, yeah. That would have been a bigger trade, especially in the SCV's repair, if there was building armor. INnoVation, I think, is a little desperate.
I think he's dead, actually. Army supplies look a lot closer than the game actually is.
Wow, this time abducting into a blinding cloud is perfect.
Okay, this is looking pretty bad. Impact doesn't seem to be stopped by this, and his bank is massive behind it. INnoVation is starting to run out of money, not just to mention his slow production.
GG.
Ooh, the tail of Impact, the comeback, boy.
Yeah, nice. I mean, he was never in a truly dead position. The Cyclone thing in the early game, that was scary. How greedy INnoVation got to be in the mid game, that was scary. But man, when he finally got a maxed army, he really started to use it quite well.
Oh man. Well, that's going to be game 4 coming up with INnoVation picking the map. It said Impact will not be able to pick any more maps, because if he does, he's gone. And we'll see what INnoVation goes with. Still limited on the pool. Don't know what's coming up. And it is... Jetto drum roll. Me entering the lobby for a long time. Catalyst, okay. Super awkward, super awesome. Again, thank you guys who have been sticking this out. This has been a much longer than normal Olimoleague, actually. I've become rather accustomed to the Olimoleagues being short. That's not a good thing. I think, for me, in my opinion, a good broadcast is one that comes close to around 4 hours, which this one is doing. But, yeah, I don't know. A lot of these Olimoleagues have closed up around 3 hours, so... I don't know, I'm feeling the burn, even though it's not objectively that long.
I just know my pancakes are getting cold.
Well, freeze it and eat it when you're drunk.
Ugh, never again.
Never again. Alright guys, well, pardon my yawn. Well, I'm not bored by any means, just tired. Been up since early times. Top of the Catalyst for game 4. See you guys in game. Okay, we're hopping back into the finals, once more into the fray. He's got 1 point on the board, but still on his last life. Ladies and gentlemen, spine to the top left side, we got the orange Zerg Impact.
The bottom right, as the red Terran, he is INnoVation.
A lot of people kind of making a big deal about INnoVation typing WW at the end of that game. I like all the won't win, weak waste, world war. Well, all of those are appropriate. Fit the bill.
I'm surprised. Most people know why WW is typed nowadays, but now everyone's jumping on the meme.
I do enjoy myself a good meme. And in fact, if you flip meme upside down and remove the E's, it's WW.
Whoa, man, whoa.
So stupid. I'm not sure if we caught him earlier, by the way, but Spine Shark, thank you for the 8-month resub. And then just now, Lothalan joins us on that Prime train. Thank you kindly to everybody who's rocked it out today. We've had a lot of bits, a lot of Prime action. Good to see people taking advantage of the Twitch promotions.
Yeah.
I was actually a little surprised because when Twitch does these things, it tends to be really beneficial for streamers. So obviously we got on the hype train. We're like, oh my god, guys, give us bits, give us the 30% discounted sub gifts and all that other shit, right? But I think at the same time, it is kind of nice for the people. Like, if I'm a guy who would never normally buy bits, but I can get a bunch for like $1, it's like I swear to you guys, God, I'm not trying to like ham this up to convince you to buy bits. But like, it's honestly fun sharing bits in the channel. I like doing it. I buy bits for my friends all the time when I could easily just give them like a donation instead. There's something about bits I just really enjoy.
I still can't quite believe how popular and dependable they've become, but I understand it a little. And I also bought the bits with the deal. So
well, I'll say this much, especially when streamers have like really cool custom cheer motes, I'm all about spamming those. But I think what's nice though is it is that safety. Like, if you guys are listening, right, like, it's really scary, to be honest, to get a big donation from somebody you've never heard of before, because there's just a high possibility it gets charged back.
Yeah.
But when bits come in, it's a for sure thing. So it's like super easy to get hyped over like a big bit cheer, because you're like, yeah, that's real, that happened. There's not gonna be bullshit with this. So I guess I'm thankful Twitch is putting on promotions like this, I guess. But whether you guys take advantage of it or not, it's totally up to you. And continue on here with the finals regardless. INnoVation still, granted, with a lead and in a great spot to really mess around if he wants to, and is kind of doing that. Although this isn't like a cheese build, a third CC is still a very dangerous thing to do. God, how many times was it back in the day if Terran players did this and an Overlord saw it, it was like game over because the all-in would just murder them.
But it's what he did last game, and he wasn't punished for it. And he even got it like on location about as fast as possible, and wasn't really punished for it. So he seems to think that it's going to happen again. Easy third base, that is. But well, it is a little scary because Impact's totally got its Nidus Worm. In fact, he already did a Nidus Worm.
And the Overlord will scout this, by the way, so it will be up to him whether he wants to punish it or not. I think that's part of the equation too, right? It's not just like, oh my god, you should always 100% of the time punish a Terran player if you see this, but it's like, are you even comfortable doing that? Do you even want to do that style of all-in if you weren't preparing for it in the first place? And it sucks because this is a map too that we saw earlier today. Impact does the Ravager Roach Rush, and it can work out really well. But not what he went for this time around. And that's not a bad thing, it's just noting that he's not got these builds tailored to the map. And that's a good thing, actually.
Catalyst can be quite popular for Roach Rushes, but I don't think it's necessarily popular for Nidus Worms. But it's not a Roach Rush. It's actually a very typical layer plus Roach Warren, although we are missing an Evolution Chamber. See what happens. Armory comes down pretty quickly for INnoVation. Last game he went for double Armory, like he was about as greedy as you can be. But this game, maybe even a faster Hellbat Cyclone attack without a Raven. I think that would be bad news, though, as Impact is going for a lot of Roaches, and it wasn't the Nidus Worm. It is a Roach attack, not necessarily like Super Rush, but double Overlords, a lot of Roaches.
I like the Ling Drop part of this again. This was something that worked out really well earlier. See how well it goes this time. Before the attack commences, though, Rhoda asks, so do streamers convert bits to cash directly at 100 bits per $1, and buyers pay the Twitch markup? Pretty much, yeah. There's a lot of confusion about that because it's not really clearly outlined, but yeah, streamers basically get $1 per 100 bits. 1 bit equals 1 cent. And the weird conversion comes out of your guys' pocket, which, if you go back to VODs, I was really against this, actually. I hated the idea of bits for the first like year that it was out, but yeah, I've since been swayed.
Impact's not bothering with the Nidus Worm, is still going to do similar tactics. Actually bringing the Queens here, but the Ling's the main is the coolest part.
Well, the Queens can also soak, the Queens and the Ravagers, more importantly, can soak the Cyclone hits where the Roaches really can't, but okay, Ling's on top of the SCV line. INnoVation's not pulling these. He's very convinced that he needs to focus on the front line, but in doing so loses his whole main mineral line. What?
Ooh, boy. Oh, no.
Oh, who cares if you hold at the front?
Pull at least half of those, and he would still be in okay position.
At least one of them.
He's in a lot of trouble now. Impact is dedicating to this, though, and if he over-dedicates, maybe it's all for naught, but I think he might actually bust this. It's something with Cyclones.
Well, the Cyclones are busy up here with the Queens, so they're not actually helping with the front attack. Liberty sets up, so Crucibles will knock that out of the sky. Oh my god, he's down to 21 SCVs. Impact can totally macro out of this.
It's game 5. Yeah, exactly. At this point, like, you can't macro, even though he's still dedicating with 10 more Lings in the way. I think you could macro out of this and still have a very, very, very big lead. But Impact might not be able to break the ramp. He should know the game he's actually not going to be able to break the ramp at all. Well,
it's single-digit SCVs, by the way.
No, the Lings. it was just Ravagers, the Cyclones deal with it, but the Lings, GG.
All right, so that is game 5. 5 out of 5, ladies and gentlemen. You get spoiled with some good StarCraft 2. But we're going to go to a quick commercial break. We'll zombie up relogs anyways, and we'll see you guys in 2 minutes. All right, folks, we are back in action here for game number 5. Things have been tied up 2-2 in this week's Olimoleague Grand Finals. Spawning to the top left, looking for that $100 first place prize, we have the Red Terran, INnoVation.
In the bottom right, as the orange Zerg, it is Impact.
And thank you, Diet Soda. Shared 101 bits. 1 cheer equals 1 prayer. So 100 cheers equals 100 prayers. You are correct. Remember, we're praying for zombie grubs, which doesn't DC here in the finals. Also, we did miss it for sure, but oh, Daddy, thank you, Milk and Cookies, for the 37-month resub. Glad to always see you sticking around, dude.
In Yavad Square, I did not realize this would be the final map. We had played this map so many times before in other series, but knowing this now, INnoVation, I think you got bopped for going 3cc last game. There was a chance you could hold it, but it just wasn't good. Oh, shit.
Oh, we didn't pray hard enough, guys.
Oh, it's on me!
Oh, it's the Russian!
I can believe everything that happens on the Russian.
Well, I mean, that could still apply to you.
No, I don't believe it. Just lie. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, the map. Like, I think the INnoVation doesn't go for 3cc again. It actually it's technically not worked out twice, but got punished harder. The hardest last game. And I think he still has to worry about Impact going for something cheesy if he doesn't go for a fast 3rd CC. Because, I mean, let's be honest, you still see Nidus Worms and Roach Islands and stuff even when you go for a normal time 3rd.
I don't really have much to add on to that because you pretty much covered it. I talked about it last game too, right? Like, INnoVation got scouted with that 3rd CC. You're gonna get punished for it if the player chooses to do it.
Yeah, I wonder if there was a way that he could have actually held that. Because let's take aside the Ling drop that killed all his SCVs. If he had pulled them, it's not like they provide that much more buffer, or do they?
Well, I don't even know what point for the buffer's sake. Just pull them so you don't lose your SCV's sake, right? Like.
Well, my point was that he's gonna lose them anyway, considering how that went. He had pulled all of his SCVs to the front to protect the Cyclones, and they still all died.
Well, okay, so there's a logical reason of saying, like, yes, they would have died anyway, so the pull and the attention spent was not worth it because you might get hit by Corsair Bile. I can get down with that, but I think I'm just more concerned that he didn't because, I don't know, it felt complacent out of INnoVation, I guess.
Well, he does go for a fast 3rd CC, although this time maybe it's not going to be... Well, no, it'll be scouted, because you can tell just by the timing of the starport.
I think it's a lot harder to punish this, though, right? Because this CC is not going to be floating out to, like, an open 3rd. It's actually back behind where you're going to be defending your natural anyways. I mean, you're still going to fall prey to a lot of what we just saw, but at least this is, like, this... Of all the maps, this is, like, the safest one to actually do the 3rd CC on. It's
true, but I don't know if the positioning of the 3rd is what killed him. INnoVation. I didn't mess that up.
INnoVation.
Impact also opens up, I think, a lot of opportunities for an attack like that because he seems to go for a lot of speed overload openings. He went for it in the Eastwatch game too, I think, but only used it for scouting.
I just really like the Ling drops, to be honest with you. Like, regardless of whatever the attack style this game is, between the Nidus Worm game and the last game, obviously, it's proven to be really effective against this particular player. Maybe it does nothing against people like Gumiho or TY, but it's proven to be a weakness out of INnoVation 2 games out of 5.
Oh, you can pay close attention to his timings again. Impact went for 4-minute. Roach Warren, or around 4 minutes, I should say, like this. Timed out with his lair. And did not get an evolution chamber. Stopped at 50 turns? I forget actually what he did. Is he going to go for this again? Is he? Really? Because it's a much bigger map too, I guess. We have to take that into consideration. That Catalyst was a very short rush distance to actually get your army across the map. So, okay, those are Eldritch Jabbers.
We've seen about 4 minutes of build. We got an idea where the game's going. Make your baller call, Zombie Group. Who wins this final game?
INnoVation.
Alright. I'm just going to go with Impact to be difficult. Best
Okay.
reasoning, as long as you can admit it. I do like that he was chipping away at the rocks, by the way. I don't think this will be a big problem, but the fear of opening these rocks is it's easier for Hellions than to run by too and maneuver around your bases. I don't know if that'll be an immediate concern because it's bio this time, but with the amount of mech he's had to face, I was a little worried about him knocking down the rocks, but ultimately probably better to do so.
Probably. I feel like we don't see many people tear down those rocks, though. Well, they will be for a later time, I suppose. 1-1 is on the way for both parties. INnoVation is going into bio, where they impact, knows with Overlord speed. It's pretty easy to get a glimpse of. And INnoVation had a very good bio game on Blackpink, so I'm quite excited for him.
I'm being challenged to 1v1 by N3A power.
Really?
The guy has our top bit slot, dude. That's pretty intimidating. I don't know if I could fight that.
Be careful.
2 N3A power. I don't know if you're like for real or for joking, but you catch me on a cast where I got a little more energy and we're not exhausted from a 4 AM stream. I'll take that challenge. I'll kick your ass.
You should be really scared of Rifkin.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm a weird guy where I'm either super effective against you or I'm a garbage player. It's one of the two, but there's no in between.
I agree with that. The Spore Crawler was in a clever place that was kind of annoying for INnoVation to deal with, but he just moves away. There's no Banelings already ready to go, so this is a tough hold for Impact. Oh, there they come now.
He's
Pick them off, pick them off, pick them off.
Oh, the focus fire is so sick.
Pick them up.
This still trades really well because, of course, here we are on the right side with those Hellions coming in and Impact. Well, I guess there's some lings here. This actually gets a really sick surround.
He grabs a couple of drones that were rallied in, but that was a pretty perfect response for Impact, who I guess was just predicting that to happen.
It was so sick that INnoVation died of dysentery.
That's pretty sick, man.
That's real sick.
Oregon Trail sick.
Poor oxen. It's winter, it's cold, I gotta eat them. There's no food.
Oregon Trail's a really sad game.
Yeah, it's got a really low success rate too.
Yeah.
Really fucked up.
It is the first Dark Souls, truly.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You just added multiplayer for people to drop in and like steal your meat? Then yes.
Oh wow.
That was pretty bad. I'm not sure what he was looking at for that to have happened, but unfortunately for INnoVation, lose one of his drops. So is this one going in?
It's really annoying, actually. Like, one drop doesn't seem like too big of a deal, but considering you don't usually send out another one, kind of complacency, but also you want to have the push. Like, the creep spread in the middle is arguably the most important, and they were stalling that, so. Sucks.
This is out of vision of pretty much everything, but this is a really important spot for INnoVation to catch. Get the drop Overlord and stop Impact from doing what he likes to do. Because this could do a lot of damage, actually.
Totally worthwhile catch. Totally worth.
I mean, even just knowing that it's here is a pretty big deal, but...
Oh,
wow. That last second Baneling hit doesn't get kills, but softens up the army that's got to back away.
I like the thought process.
In the meantime, INnoVation does set up a fourth. He's muling it like a madman, so we're about to watch that income spike through the roof. But I like that he didn't get 2 tunnel vision. I was worried, like, honestly, between the last game and SCV poll and like the way some of these drops have gone, I'm like, maybe INnoVation's tunnel visioning a little hard. Maybe he's tired. I don't know. But looking better. Loses the top drop. Kind of sucks. But if he picks up that layer, no way. No way. There's no Banelings here. He's going to do it.
Get it. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's not happen. And he gets out of there with both medevacs. Nicely done.
Turns out INnoVation's a pretty good player at StarCraft 2.
Yeah. That significantly delays the hive. That's going to be at least a 10-minute hive, which... No, it's going to be more. He didn't get the devastation pit yet. Ho, ho, ho.
Okay, so that really sets Impact back. But against a bio player and not a mech player, the later hive is not that bad. I think that when you're playing bio or against bio, you can get a lot more longevity off like the Banelings in the mid game. But it definitely sucks not getting that hive. Not the time he wants. Ooh, that medevac's so low, and oh, did I just hear a bunch of larvae die in the main? I did.
Yes, yeah.
Lack of creep.
Loses one of the medevac drops, but still has one to always threaten. I think that's still pretty good. INnoVation is now having a very comfortable push timing. There's always, even if you hit like the nicest 2-2 timing with tanks, you're always like, well, are there ultras any second? Now there's just no fear of ultras, but there is still a fear of being surrounded. So INnoVation still has to be careful. It's a different type of game because you also will have a much faster response to ultras that aren't even being thought about yet. It's like he's still only on his way to the infestation pit.
Odd Marine. Main force will meet up behind him. Drop distracting. Impact. Big patrol, but big attack to the top side. Tanks are in a pretty good spot too. If he gets control of the high ground, he's gonna be able to deny not just one, but possibly 2 bases.
I was gonna go for the creep. Trying to kill the drones.
Oh, it's an awkward Liberator. It's an awkward drop too. There's a lot of just like cued moves that happening at INnoVation. They might actually just be exhausted at this point, really.
Oh, the Marauders are all clumped up. That kind of sucks.
But you know what? The Marines live. They'll be able to push through the Hydras. Remember, these Hydras don't have any weapon upgrades.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like he should have at least 5 Marauders left over. He wasn't all clumped up. Oh no.
Ooh, the tank's also not moved. Very awkward. Yeah, we're seeing some slips here out of INnoVation. Goes from God to Hercules to human real quick.
Yeah. I guess he thought...
No! No!
Oops. I guess he thought that was the army, so he felt comfortable on sieging, but there was clearly so much more army left over. The drops, both of them just doing terribly here.
He's actually fully lost this momentum he gained from killing that layer, I feel, at this point, too. Because Impact was a little bit late to getting the Hive, but INnoVation had a really big army supply, so it was terrifying. Now he doesn't have the army supply, and more importantly, he doesn't have the medevac count, only on 6. Well, I say only on 6, but he doesn't really have enough to be spreading around the map and doing multi-pronged drops. So if he's parade pushing, then that's fine for Impact to get this Hive.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the momentum's really been lost. Now, he still has 3-3-2, but he didn't quite add on, like, there we have a lot more starports, Fusion Core, maybe Ghost Academy very soon, too. And his army is still good. It doesn't have any tanks, and it has a lot of creeps right now burned through again, too. I guess 2 tanks is something, but not too convincing. And this creep spread is alerting Impact to a very, like, concavable surround position. This is like the toughest part on Neovaut Square sometimes when you're in the middle of the map like this. Impact setting up for either a run by or a back attack. Looks like it's going to be a run by.
Bailey's getting some okay hits, but the Marauders actually spread out, soaked most of them this time. That was nice to see. I'll see if the follow-up works too, because these Bailey's are going to get caught just finishing morphing in. Hatchery's going to be the target. I kind of feel like he should just capitalize on the army, but he's not going to be able to. INnoVation backing away from this into the tanks. I didn't realize there was tanks here. That's how long it took them to get involved with the fight.
Lings were very unsuccessful, by the way. There was a planetary at the gold base, which if they had gone straight to the fort, or if they had run past the army into the natural, something like that, might have been able to do more, but...
Ooh, that fungal. That was a nice fungal.
Yeah, for losing out on his Ling run by, INnoVation also loses out on the army fight again. Didn't quite grab 5th, 6th, I guess.
Ooh, you know what? Another thing that's been kind of happening this game, just due to the offset of the Hive timing, is INnoVation is going to be on 3-3 now, way ahead of Impact. This doesn't normally time out so disastrously, frankly.
It's one of the larger gaps we've seen, even including, I think, the Black Paint game where it was a pretty large gap, so... That's scary. INnoVation still has a lot of power in this game.
Yeah, it goes for Liberators around the sides of the map again. Hydra's pretty much take it out before you get shots off, though, so that's unfortunate. Big thing to Master Tracks for that 2-month Prime sub. Sorry we missed it in the heat of action. This has been pretty intense for Game 5, and I love that this didn't end up being a lame series. This is so good.
Yeah. It looked close to being a 3-0, but Impact's really brought it back.
Lazy fucking Marine.
We also have some very key... This was missing from his mech game, but they were on point in the bio game he last played on Black Pink, so I'm glad to see that he's keeping up here. He had such fast upgrades, going immediately into the kind of miscellaneous ones, and continuing his momentum.
You know, one detail INnoVation has been doing really consistently, by the way, has been muling specifically the gold. It seems a little bit of a waste, but this base is actually the most out-of-position one for him. To not have to defend this one because it's mined out would be great moving forward, and just continue expanding down the left side of the map. So I like the way he's been doing that, but whether on purpose or by accident, it'll work out well. Liberator's gonna do some leapfrog action forward. A lot of Banelings, though. This is a actually terrifying amount of Banelings. 42 Banelings.
Impact is getting a lot more Ling run buys in this game than he did last time we saw a game like this. So he's denying those bases that went down on location, which could be big, but he has to deal with this very scary army, and if he can't do that, then it doesn't matter that INnoVation can't get another base up. Because no matter what, he's getting extra orbitals, command centers, whatever, but he's not getting on location.
Mule makers.
Yeah, exactly. Coastless supply depots. Alright, he is supply blocked.
SCVs get pulled.
Repair.
Yeah,
No?
I'm not sure why you abandoned ship on this one, to be honest.
I guess he thought the army was coming.
You know, I think too, he's just trying to dodge the banelings. But I don't know that SCVs are a precious commodity for INnoVation right now. He actually has plenty. Too many, even, again. Because a lot of these bases he has are kind of mined out, right? It doesn't really need this many SCVs.
Yeah, I guess he's thinking he's going to need them soon, though. He's about to double... Well, he was going to double expand until he had to replace his gold. Now it's a single expand.
Well, Impact has had the pressure lightened up for quite some time, and this is awesome because he was not able to really breathe under INnoVation's constant attacks, the drops. Now he's like 1, 2, 3 expands going at the same time.
Which I really like. His army is maxed out. You got nothing else to spend 9 minerals on except recovering your bank makers, basically. He doesn't need the money necessarily right now, but he's going to need to accrue a bank, and tripling your hatch production will do that.
We really downgraded our English for this cast in the finals.
But it was so perfect. I'm not even ashamed of that one.
Your bank makers.
It's exactly what I meant.
Marauders are spread out really nice. There's the threat of baneling still, of course, but I'm actually curious about the blinding boats? No, it's just gonna be abducts and abducts and more abducts. Not a bad choice.
But I mean, Liberators will get kind of enough shots off, I feel. They were such a deep line of Liberators that the Vipers, of course, also had to sacrifice themselves to even get there.
What's nice, too, by the way, to note, INnoVation did rush out +3 armor on vehicles pretty quick. So, I mean, these Hydras and Corruptors admittedly are having a harder time getting these Liberators down because they have full armor upgrades. Corruptors have no weapon upgrades at all.
Could this be it?
Liberators are killing them.
I think this might be it.
It's a lot of waste to the ground. Liberators can't shoot buildings, so that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. GG. That was a really long series, but I have no regrets, and congratulations to INnoVation for finally taking it 3-2. Very end. I almost wish this went on a bit longer just because that viewership number was continuing to crawl all throughout the finals and so close to reaching 4K. Not quite, but almost there. And all without front page time, that's pretty nice. But thank you guys for joining us today. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for the combination BTSL Amateur Series, which is going to be Platinum and below, as well as the BTSL European Group, which again, DNS, TLO, Seoul, and Lambo. There we go. Gonna be good times. Gonna be some good games. It's worth noting because I think Lambo is in Korea. Basically, if the players agree to play in North America, we can. Otherwise, default service Europe. So Lambo actually might be SOL with that group, depending how selfish the other players decide to be or not. But that's really up to them. Regardless, 10 a.m. Pacific. Be here. Don't miss it. Hit the follow button here on the channel that we get the alerts when we go live. And let's just wrap this up real quick. So Zombie Grub, where can people find you?
Follow me on Twitter @TGaming, YouTube Zombie Grub, and Twitch Zombie Grub. I'll be streaming in like 4 hours basically. So please follow me there, guys.
I will sadly not be doing any streaming on my personal channel, but you can follow me at twitch.tv/riff_king. I have to really, like I said, with all these 100 post-it notes I got on my desk, do my taxes because I'm going to be screwed if I don't. And BaseTradeTV won't be around next year if I've got no money. So thank you guys very much for joining. I'm probably going to go host a friend, so give him some love, be polite, be awesome, be nice, and have a wonderful day. And be sure to check out the Olimoleague Patreon for cool rewards like replay packs, etc. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.